framework in terms of a vision that articulates what is it that we need to do so as to achieve our dream. And that is what is called the Vision 2030 blueprint. And now Vision 2030, like sessional paper number 10 of 1965, is the blueprint that will govern the economy of this country until 2030.
One of the first issues President Kibaki addressed was access to free and compulsory primary education.
Hata mimi siku kwa shule, nilirudi shule. Nilikuwa nimeshaaja shule, ndio nikarudi sasa shule. Nikaanza kusoma kuanzia standard 4 mpaka standard 8.
I'm glad we had a government that was supporting education so fully. Don't forget that since independence, Kenyans had been very interested in education, so much so that even during the colonial times, some communities had established their own schools. The cost of education in Kenya had been identified as a great hindrance to access of many children. There was the issue of preference of boys. When parents had to make a choice, then invariably they chose boys to go to school and not the girls.
A stakeholders conference drafted the new education strategy that was premised on a sector-wide approach.
The country has over the years made significant strides in the development of the education sector, which has recorded rapid expansion from primary level up to the university level with a corresponding increase in enrollments.
Tunahitaji katika Kenya nzima some wote. Sio tu primary. Primary siku hizi ni kitu kidogo. Primary hapana masomo. Hiyo ni mwanzo tu, mtoto anaanza kusoma primary basi. Hiyo wewe hapa ulipokuwa bado kusoma ulifikiri mtu akisoma primary amesoma. Hapana. Hiyo ni kazi ya mtoto. Anasaidiwa asome hiyo. Just of course. Masomo yanaanza wakati ameingia high school.
I remember Saitoti and I coming to State House to say half of the year is gone, money is spent. It was spent, in fact, during the elections. What do we do about it? You looked me straight in the eye and told me, David, I've made you Minister for Finance. Go and look for the money.
By the time the first group of primary school graduates were finishing school, already the government had started a program on subsidized secondary education.
With the introduction of subsidized secondary education in 2009, enrollment has risen to 1.3 million in 2011, up from 700,000 in 2006.
The fact that he allowed the universities to run as academic institutions, having been a lecturer himself, perhaps is the single most important thing that has led us to increase numbers.
There are currently 7 public universities with 15 constituent colleges and 33 private universities, 8 of which are fully chartered.
These university colleges are spread all over Kenya. He has also taken into account the marginalized areas which had been forgotten before.
Universities and higher education in general cannot excel and go far without research. It's really the key component of higher education, and the president knows this. And one way that he has supported this is the support the government has given to the National Council for Science and Technology. They have been given more money, and as a result, we are able to see more publications, among the lecturers. We are able to see more funded research proposals, and this is what is going to drive higher education and hence the economy.
In order to finance these projects, there was need for increased revenue. President Kibaki's years as finance minister and one of Africa's top economists helped him demystify the relationship between taxation and prudent use of tax revenues in economic development. Indeed, among the important economic transformation President Kibaki will be remembered for is the weaning of Kenya from dependence on foreign aid.
A lot of people, a lot of institutions who are not paying taxes. And in fact, it is one area where President Kibaki can be very proud that he kept asking, where does our tax money go to?
Kuna jambo moja limetokea. Sasa zamani zile tulikuwa kodi mliokuwa mwatoa ilikuwa kodi kidogo. Pesa ilikuwa kiasi kidogo. Sasa tumezingatia nyinyi mpaka mtoe kodi njia sawasawa, na ndio sasa tuweze kuelimisha na kuwapatia mambo haya mengine yote. Na yule ambaye ana mali na tumempatia mali na hataki kulipa kodi, huyo usimuonee huruma, tutafuata yeye mpaka mwisho.
His government achieved this first by growing the economy. The country's GDP has tripled in the last 8 years. This made it possible to widen the taxable collections by reforming the institutions charged with this responsibility. The Kenya government still has dependable development partners working with it in areas where it may not have the resources or expertise. However, it has taken charge of its economic destiny by avoiding unnecessary foreign aid. President Kibaki's administration places the concerns of Kenyan youth at the heart of its development agenda.
60% of Kenyans are youth. And if we are going to develop, that is a body that we must develop.
Ameleta kazi kwa vijana. Kama sisi vijana, unajua kabla si uongozi wake, hatukuwa na hizi bodaboda. Sasa zimeingia.
Women Enterprise Development Fund was introduced in the 2007-2008 financial year to provide support to women entrepreneurs.
Tumeweka tayari pesa ile ya kusaidia kina mama kufanya biashara yao vizuri na kufanya kazi yao nzuri zile wanataka, na pesa hizo zitakuwa nyingi kama zile tuliletea akina youth.
In the water sector, the government has reformed the management of water and sanitation services. Today, 65% of the Kenyan people have access to piped water compared to 38% 10 years ago. Major efforts have also been made in water conservation. The major water towers are being rehabilitated and future generations are assured of this valuable resource. Tree cover has improved from 2% to 6% in 2012. The housing sector has seen immense growth during President Kibaki's tenure. Affordable housing for Kenyans has therefore been one of the government's key focus areas. For the first time in over 30 years, civil servants are beneficiaries of homes which they own. The National Housing Corporation continues to develop homes for the low and middle income groups in the country in order to bridge the housing deficit. One of his administration's major concerns over the last 10 years is the upgrading of slums, a project the government is undertaking in the major slums of Nairobi. Several private real estate firms are engaged in the development of commercial and residential properties, yielding the biggest building boom since the country's independence. Kenya's Vision 2030 clearly defines the new framework and policy directions towards achieving a food secure and prosperous nation.
Agriculture is the backbone of our economy. The sector contributes about 30% of the gross domestic product and a further 27% through linkages with other sectors. The agricultural sector has the greatest impact on overall economic performance.
Since independence, agriculture sector has never grown as fast as it has grown during Kibaki's time. To grow from -3 to +6.4, that is a leap of nearly 9.4%. We are the #1 tea exporter in the world. We are #1 flower exporter in the world. You would like to see everybody practice farming as a business. You would like to see us move away completely from thinking of agriculture as a subsistence enterprise to a commercial, economically viable business.
A lot of money was pumped into KCC Eldoret, around 110 million. We revived a big dryer that is doing 100,000 liters of milk every day. And that gave the farmers a lot of hope, a lot of future. Even the youth are now so much involved in the dairy industry.